The Magic Kingdom is about to change forever, with 2 brand new lands coming, villains and cars. Unfortunately, this will see the demise of Tom Sawyer Island and the Rivers of America, both Walt Disney World classics. But few know that this area used to be more active. There was a lot of kinetic energy that over time was lost. So let's discover the incredible history of this place before it goes away forever. The layout of Magic Kingdom is inspired by Disneyland, with some notable upgrades. For instance, the Haunted Mansion is located in a different land, inspired by Liberty Street, a project that never happened at Disneyland. However, one key development would be the Rivers of America. At Walt Disney World, this river would be part of a larger ecosystem, as it would be connected to the Seven Seas Lagoon and Bay Lake, creating a tremendous water development. The Rivers of America would open with the park. However, in 1971, Tom Sawyer's Island was not accessible to guests. Instead, it was a large mold of land with nothing. The river did feature the Mike Finn keelboats inspired by the popular Davy Crockett series and some canoes as well. Together with the original Riverboat Admiral John Fowler, which debuted a day after the park opened, it would be joined as well by the Richard Irvine in 1973. These boats helped the park have more kinetic energy. But Frontierland was supposed to have an even bigger attraction. At the edge of the Rivers of America would sit the incredible Western River Expedition. This ride would be a Western version of Pirates of the Caribbean. It was the vision of Imagineer Mark Davis. If you look at the ride's model, you can see many colorful scenes, but also some dramatic ones. The ride would utilize Mark's signature style and humor to tell a story of the legends of the Wild West, from nature's wonderland to dangerous bandits. In my opinion, if Western River Expedition became a reality, it would have been an instant Disney classic. Western River Expedition, or more specifically Thunder Mesa, would feature this massive show building hidden by rockwork. However, this wasn't just one ride. Other possible attractions included a runaway mine train type ride. We can also spot a flume type ride. This show building would have been daunting, something most guests would have never seen before. We can see a western town, but also a Pueblo-type village hidden within the rockwork. While impressive, unfortunately, this ride will never see the light of day. Walt Disney World did not feature a Pirates of the Caribbean. After all, Florida did see real pirates back in the day. However, when your guests expect a ride like the one at Disneyland, Disney had to quickly plan and open a clone of the popular Buccaneer adventure. Still, Mark Davis didn't give up. Unfortunately, the runaway mine train ride started becoming more popular. Western River Expedition would never see the light of day. Sometimes we can understand history better if we look not just at what was built, rather what never happened. These are works of fascination that provide a clue into how Imagineers did their work. However, the impacts of the cancelled Western River Expedition still live on to this day, as we'll see later on. With no attraction in sight, the plot of Western River Expedition would sit empty for a few years to come. In 1973, Frontierland would see the premiere of Tom Sawyer's Island. While the island would remain unchanged for years to come, here are some notable modifications and additions. Fort Sam Clements, Mark Twain's real name by the way, would change its name to Fort Longhall, and Polly's Kitchen would become a seasonal venue, only opening in high-capacity days. The 2 riverboats would not see each other for too long, as in 1980, when Admiral Joe Fowler was in dry dock, it suffered an accident that damaged it beyond repair. Later on, the Irvine was renamed Liberty Bell. However, the most significant changes to Tom Sawyer's Island would be the closure of 2 rides that provided kinetic energy. The canoes are a unique Disney ride. They require you to move well a canoe. However, take a look at the versions still present at Tokyo Disneyland, Disneyland in California. We can see this type of ride is still popular. Even Shanghai Disneyland, which is a new park, has a canoe ride. However, at Disney's most popular resort, such experience does not exist anymore, as it closed in 1994. In 1998, Paul Pressler became president of Walt Disney Attractions. He was known for his extensive and somewhat dangerous cost-cutting measures. His impact on Disney experiences can still be felt to this day. The keelboats would close in 2001. One keelboat still sits as a non-functional prop on the banks of Tom Sawyer Island. Another loss was the fire effect on the settler's cabin. Even with all these changes and loss of attractions, this area of the Magic Kingdom will still hold some value. The rivers of America provide atmosphere to the surrounding lands of the park. Take for instance Liberty Square, a land that celebrates America's early history and the strives for independence. Much of the architecture here is colonial in its style. Worth taking note is the area near the rivers of America, as this area expands the story of the land. The Columbia Harbor House is located well next to a harbor. It's part of the storytelling. Visiting Columbia Harbor House is like stepping back in time. It's a space you don't see anymore, with panoramic views of Liberty Square and the rivers of America. Here guests can sit and enjoy an incredible view of the river. It's an atmosphere like no other. Near Haunted Mansion sits a building that doesn't seem to be part of the ride. Well, that is because it was the entrance to the canoe boats back in the day. The Liberty Bell is by definition a Disney experience, because it is what Disney became specialized in, building something that doesn't need to exist. There was no need to build a massive riverboat. However, it is a concept that symbolizes Disneyland to this day, nostalgia. When Disneyland opened, it brought you back in time, featuring different transportation methods from mules to cars. Disneyland did change, but it kept the same spirit. Soon monorails would be added. At Walt Disney World, that same spirit of nostalgia became vital for what many know as a Disney experience. The riverboat might not get the attention it deserves, but it is a vital part of Magic Kingdom's celebration of transportation systems of old. The riverboats also played a vital role in America's development, as rivers such as the Mississippi, Missouri, and the Rio Grande served as highways for travel and commerce. Let's be honest and say there's nothing better than waving your hand at people passing by. The wooden walkways and piers along the shores of the rivers of America are not original, as they were added in the opening of Splash Mountain to ensure gas flow. A problem we'll see that plays a vital role in Disney's decision to remove the island. But Tom Sawyer Island is a hidden oasis within Walt Disney World. It's like traveling to a different world, or more accurately, a different time. Here guests can journey and find incredible little attractions from Walt Disney World's past. Tom Sawyer Island is a place that is a complete contrast from our modern world. Instead of chaos and noisy streets, we have the calmness of the river and the landscaping. But the island also has its thrills, like scary, dark carvers. The greatness of Tom Sawyer Island is that it feels uninhabitable. We need a raft to get there. It feels like an adventure by itself. Then we have the fort, which is another hidden gem at the Magic Kingdom. Being a kid there is like living a dream. Tom Sawyer Island is where you can be a kid, or at least feel like one, exploring hidden paths and tranquil spaces. Here you'll find classic examples of small attractions, at least the dictionary definition of an attraction. Such example is the Mystery Mine, an example of a mystery spot, which were quite common back in the day. A personal favorite is Harper's Mill and Potter's Windmill. So as you can see, Tom Sawyer Island is a hidden oasis within the Magic Kingdom. When one thinks of intellectual properties, we imagine entering said world or experiencing the same feelings or places we saw in said franchises. As the current trend goes, theme parks try to recreate the same spaces from movies, whether it be an iconic piece of architecture, like a landmark or an interesting street. As pop culture showcased to us, we want to live in those worlds and be the main characters of said stories. The ideas of theme park design have always been about recognizability, understanding what a theme park is about from the moment you step foot. IPs can accomplish that really easy, after all you probably already watched that movie. However, I find Disney's most fascinating lands to be those that go beyond that, being an IP or not, lands that make you think and explore and, well, learn. When you are a kid, you feel as if you understand everything about Tom Sawyer's Island. But when you go back as an adult, well, you find yourself discovering or rediscovering things you have never imagined. Pandora is a great example of that. However, if you just have a cardboard cutout of a character in the middle of nothing, it's just the character for the sake of recognizability, and sometimes IP can be detrimental. What if you are restricted by having to adhere to predetermined rules or a creative vision you are not part of? Sometimes an IP can be restrictive rather than leading to expansive, creative new boundaries. Popular movie IPs will forever be tied to the emotions and feels of those movies, connecting the impacts of rides and lands to the themes of IPs it was based on. When you build something based on an established universe, you have to adhere to said universe's guidelines and rules. The worst scenario is when you don't have a popular IP to base off ride. Remember the early 2000s? Who wants a Home on the Rage land? That would fit better in Frontierland though. You can see this is starting to happen, as Disney has for their lineup for the next years a bunch of sequels, with only Elio and an untitled Walt Disney animation film being original. How long will these IPs remain relevant is the question we all want to know. How long can a studio reutilize its library? It's clear that building just IP lands and rides is an unstable foundation to build a theme park. If we take a look at the history of theme park design, we can see a small seed of IPs, and by IP, I mean recognizable media, existed from the beginning, and by beginning I mean parks like Tivoli Gardens. However, over the decades, we saw a different trend. Remember when every park had an adventure theme? So it's clear IPs are not here to stay. It's inevitable that the current trajectory dies down a bit and theme parks enter a new phase of development. Maybe we are already seeing that with lands like Fantasy Springs and the new Tropical Americas. However, one announcement has made a lot of people sad, and that's the news that Disney will be replacing Tom Sawyer's Island with 2 Cars rides. What a strange decision. First off, Frontierland has a pre-car feel, a world without automobiles, a journey to the past. By removing such elements, you are removing the original appeal of the land. By putting the current industrial cars onto Frontierland, it takes away from what made the land unique and special. Additionally, these cars could contrast with Big Thunder Mountain and Liberty Square, if Disney still wants to keep that, of course. Cars don't seem to fit with cowboys and western, or pioneers and Yankees. The Imagineers tried to bring this crazy idea to life by putting a Rocky Mountain Cascadia type aesthetic to such ride. We can spot a building that looks like the Old Faithful Inn with its lodge architecture. The ride looks to have a diverse range of landscapes, with rugged terrain and some water features. So I would not be completely against this if it didn't replace something so important to the park's history. I'm personally a huge Cars fan, I even enjoyed the second movie. However, I feel as if most guests will be disappointed with this land. I imagine most kids are expecting something like Radiator Springs, not a national park's aesthetic. Speaking of that, let's deep dive into what's coming to the Magic Kingdom. If you take a look at the concept art, we can spot what looks to be the Piston Peak. If you are not aware, this is from a spin-off of Cars called Planes, and Piston Peak is from Planes 2: Fire and Rescue. The movie is set in a national park reminiscent of Yellowstone or Yosemite. It also features a lodge, which is also present in this concept art. It is interesting having many elements inspired by Planes Fire and Rescue, which was not made by Pixar, rather by the defunct Toon Studios. But when you need to make an entire land based on a single IP, sometimes there is not enough material to pull from. The land will feature 2 rides, a major e-ticket type attraction themed to rally racing, and a smaller flat ride type attraction. It will be interesting having talking cars with eyes and mouths right next to Big Thunder and Tiana's Bio Adventure, which features vehicles that are not conscious from what I'm aware at least. As you can see, cars are not an element associated with the Wild West, and will be a drastic change to Frontierland and its surrounding areas. The Haunted Mansion might be right up against a talking cars ride. Liberty Square might lose its historical importance. If you are not aware, the buildings from Liberty Square Two Frontierland follow a historical timeline from colonial America to the Southwest. Now Frontierland and Liberty Square will be right up against a massive Cars Land set in current times with cameras and flat-screen TVs. It's not the romantic version of the Wild West Frontierland became famous for. Yes, Magic Kingdom's Frontierland is not as beautiful as the one in Paris, but it's still an important part of the park. That's why, in terms of theme park design theory, this land doesn't make any sense. Unfortunately, the death of Rivers of America has been written many years ago. With the loss of the canoes and the keelboats, the river became empty. The lack of maintenance and the closure of facilities did not help. The death of the Rivers of America has been a long and painful one, and it's another step in the park's removal of water features, such as the 20,000 Leagues Lagoon, which was also too expensive to maintain. Magic Kingdom is the most visited park on planet Earth. It's a place many people have fond memories of, where many get a once-in-a-lifetime chance to visit, from different countries even, all the way from Japan to Brazil. Yet unfortunately, many will not get the opportunity to experience the beautiful charm of the riverfront vistas. Are we losing sight of what makes the park special? Paving paradise with a racetrack? Yes, the Rivers of America did not get a lot of views from guests. But is that what really matters? Instead, think of a river that serves its purpose as a water feature, a storytelling device that unites the two lands and creates beautiful vistas. I invite you to enjoy these vistas while you can. Enjoy the sleepy vistas of the Rivers of America. Farewell, cherished Rivers of America, and a heartfelt thank you for the treasure trove of memories you have gifted us.